Lately I've been thinking a lot about Nintendo and how influential they've been to the canvas that is gaming today. Since the release of the NES all the way up until the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo has sat securely at the helm of the gaming industry without showing signs of stopping. And the question you're left asking is how? So today I want to take a look back into Nintendo's history and recount what the company did correctly, what they did incorrectly, and everything in between that helped them remain at the top of gaming so consistently.
What is it that fascinates kids so much about these games? What is it?
The adventures and all that.
Nintendo may be at the heart of the gaming industry, but that's not to say they're without their fair share of ridicules when it comes to consoles. And in a weird way, I think that that's a superpower for them. Nintendo has never been afraid to take risks. It was 1996, and the controller design for the Nintendo 64 was released to the public. The design was controversial, preventing the real use of all of its features with the player's hand in any one position due to the three-prong hand rests. The D-pad, left shoulder, the analog stick, and Z-trigger cannot all generally be used at the same time, as it typically requires the player to switch hand positions mid-game. However, because of this, Nintendo began to revolutionize what the concept of a mainstream controller looked like, which later solely contributed to the development of the GameCube controller, one of the most legendary sticks of all time. But of course, Nintendo was still not satisfied with the level of innovation. With the introduction of the Wii, the general public and mainstream gaming culture alike were confused at the Wii's forward approach to making the first motion-based controller. Everybody was curious as to how this would pan out, as nobody's ever really done anything like this before. Forbes magazine wrote that they would, quote, fear the console would be seen as juvenile, not only due to the controller, but its odd name that reminded you of another similar word. However, as we all know, the Wii was Nintendo's best-selling console all the way up until they topped themselves with the revolutionary Switch concept. It's a cycle that repeats itself over and over again.
I saw that the company had a legacy of innovation. All of the things that you take for granted today in gaming systems, joysticks, directional controllers, had all been done first by Nintendo.
See, the main reason that it's hard for Nintendo to fall behind is because they're always trying to think ahead, leaving the rest to do the catching up. Subsequently, after the Wii's release, Microsoft scrambled together their best tech nerds to shit out the Kinect, which didn't have nearly as much passion put behind it.
You know, Kinect, I'll be honest, it was a disaster. It was a disaster, Ryan. It was a train wreck. It started as this device which kind of could do everything itself.
Yeah.
It ended up being none of those things.
And likewise, the Steam Deck was released shortly after Nintendo decided to integrate more games into the eShop fold. Nintendo wins before even bringing up the addition of console releases, which once again is more of a superpower than most people notice. Speaking of console releases, let's talk about Nintendo's exclusives. Now, of course, Nintendo's bread and butter trio of games, Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda, are the group of series that never seems to stop giving. Aside from taking chances with their console design, Nintendo has also mastered the art of looping their series in a creative way. Zelda Breath of the Wild is drastically different from the other titles in the series, and likewise, Super Mario Odyssey is nothing like Sunshine or Galaxy at all. Nintendo's philosophy is that you come for the name recognition, but stay for the unique changes that the team have made to the world, its surroundings, and the characters you interact with along the way. So although Nintendo has made over 200 Mario games, it's leaps and bounds more diverse than the 21 Call of Duty games or the 4 billionth FIFA game. Inversely, while other companies such as Microsoft and Sony are focused on trying to find that perfect new release, Nintendo can focus on the unique details that make this title different from the last. It's a genius business model that not only works for keeping the general public happier, but also critics alike. I mean, let's not act like the Nintendo GameCube did not get a lot of hate thrown at it originally when it was released, but you cannot argue that its releases weren't a good cushion for the flack that it got for that. The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. I could literally keep this up all day. If the console itself flops, then Nintendo's releases have them covered. And if the releases flop, the console's innovation takes it just as far. You can't say that another console or company has their shit together more than Nintendo does. I never have to worry about Nintendo's direct live streams. I'm never afraid that they're gonna announce announce some game that doesn't make any sense to be part of the platform, or a concept that just doesn't make sense altogether.
I can't believe you've done this.
You know, before we wrap the video up, I kind of want to touch on the history of Nintendo, or rather how intriguing the history of the founder is. The founder of Nintendo, Fusajiro Yamauchi, opened the first hanafuda card shop called Nintendo Kopai. Hanafuda cards being these neat little cards with flower art on them. And the reason they were so successful is because at the time, normal playing cards were banned by the Japanese government due to them having ties to street gambling and all sorts of weird stuff. And I don't know, that's kind of like heartwarming in a way. Yamauchi saw a fun medium of playing games being turned into something that was so serious and so strict, and just wanted to make a version of it that was more accessible to the general public. And all of these years later, their company is somewhat doing the same thing if you think about it. They're not concerned with making stories that make you cry or shooting games with detailed, gory graphics. They're just trying to make a game and a system that's fun to play. Although Nintendo was in the past hounded by a majority of the general public for being such a closed company, only allowing games produced by their own company to run on their machines, as of the Nintendo Switch, they finally allowed crossplay between platforms. What was once just a dream became reality. Shouting a goat off of a mountain in Skyrim just before hopping into a Smash Brothers match is a timeline that we exist in. Thank you, Nintendo, for easily being the most nostalgic yet present pieces of game history to be killing the game right now. No pun intended. And most importantly, Sega will never be on your level. That's right, I'm talking to you. What consoles have you made, huh? What happened? You got too tired from copying Nintendo's designs? And then look, in 2005, 7 years after the Dreamcast, they announced their final console, the Advanced Pico Bina. What is this? It's like a shitty plastic DS. It looks like what Build-A-Bear would give you as an accessory to your plushie. It looks like a toy laptop that you get in those house doll sets. It looks like it's part of the Toy Story Lego set. Listen, Sega, Sonic will never be as good as Mario. And although your past attempts were good, it fell short like we all knew they would. What's the last Sonic game you put up, huh? What's the last Sonic game in the lineup? Sonic Frontier. The description only reads, experience Sonic like never before. What is this? That's it? That's all you have to say about the game? It looks crusty. What is this, Final Fantasy? Okay, I just had to get that out of my system. Oh. You're still here? Well, while you're here, you might as well like the video, you know, subscribe, all that good stuff, all the usual stuff. If you have any other tidbits about Nintendo, or maybe you're just a Sega fanboy, then leave a comment, let me know what you're thinking. I had a lot of fun making this one, especially since I've been playing the Switch for the past week, just non-stop. A lot of Smash Brothers. If you want the smoke, let me know. But yeah, cheers to Nintendo, cheers to everything that they've been doing, and I hope to see more out of them soon. As always, I'm so curious what they're going to do next. Alright, fade out time. Fade out time. What am I doing for the fade out? You know what's really funny is there's a Sonic plushie right next to me, literally as I'm recording this. In fact, I'm going to snap a picture of this and just put it in the edit. I'm snapping a photo right now. It's what's holding my mic. It's literally what's holding my mic.